Hello, fellas. I just wanted to say that I'm gonna go briefly with this live stream and yeah, this breakdown and post-fight analysis. I am not pretty much proud of my achievements so far. Just to tell you, I'm pretty much not proud of my achievements. Because, it was a night of comebacks and. We really much enjoyed this card, but I'm gonna break it down fight by fight, and you are going to see how everything played out for me. Here is bets 1 out of 2, 7 out of 11 picks, but let's grind it out now. Alright, first of all, Jamie Lee Not defeated Haley Cowan. I had over 2.5. It was a pretty much of a boring fight, but it went the distance. And then the second fight, I had not gone the distance. Marcus McGee destroyed Journey Newsom with a big, powerful strike and sent him to another dimension. But then we've seen a submission knee bar victory in the end of Irina Alexeyeva, who was able to finish Stephanie Egger, and Stephanie Egger is probably going to get released. So great performance by Alexeyeva, great performance by Russian Ronda, and the next fight was horrendous to me, as Charles Johnson was unable to defeat Cody Durden, and I was having a big problem, like a big dilemma, and everything that happened, it happened for a reason, I guess. And Charles Johnson, Charles Johnson is well, he didn't have his night tonight, so I failed at bet. Martin Bude versus Jay Collier, I said fight not going the distance, but it went the distance, and Bude defeated his opponent via decision. Nice fight, pretty much nice fight. Trey Waters versus Josh Quinlan, we had the same story. I said no distance, fight went the distance, and Trey Waters outworked him. He used his reach advantage, his length advantage, and it was a night of comebacks, pretty much was a night of comebacks, as many fighters who were down on the scorecards were able to get back into the winning column. Also, Marcos Rogerio de Lima defeated Valdo Cortez Acosta. Marcos Rogerio de Lima was pretty much better in that fight. He destroyed his opponent with dangerous leg kicks, with Soraya, with amazing wrestling, and it was just a mastermind intelligence. We've seen a mastermind intelligence in that fight, so I've got to praise his coach. I think his coach was pretty much on point. The next fight was, well, what can I say? The next fight was one-sided ass whooping where Fernando Padilla was swinging the hammer. Fernando Padilla dropped Julian Rosa, and Rosa worked his way back on the feet. Fernando Padilla drops him again, and Rosa was defending intelligently. He was moving sideways, but the judges decided that, that blind judge definitively decided that Rosa didn't do enough to defend, and I think that judge needs a pair of glasses, so I am going to make a parody later. But now I don't have time to make a parody because I need to sleep. Tomorrow, probably, I'm going to make a parody. Then Rodolfo Vieira versus Cody Brandage. It was also a night of comeback, as Brandage teed him up on the feet in the round one, but Rodolfo Vieira survived the onslaught and then finished his opponent via arm triangle in the second. I don't know how he was able to do that. Same situation we've seen in the fight against Mikhail Alexichuk and Kaya Bohada. Mikhail Alexichuk destroyed him in the first round with a barrage of punches, especially with the big left hand. And Kaya Bohada, out of nowhere, recovers in the second round like nothing happens and miraculously defeats him via rear naked choke. I just have to say it was a nice piece of play by him, and I think Kaya Bohada really did a lovely, lovely job. He outpaced his opponent. He was like, I don't know, like he knew what was going to happen. Then Song Yadong. Song Yadong dominated Ricky Simon and finished him in round 5 after dropping him with a big punch. After dropping him with a big punch, he defeated his opponent with a violent barrage of punches on the ground. And it seems his mastermind coach, Uriah Faber, did enough to help him. He listened to Uriah Faber's pieces of advice, and I can only say it was a pretty much fair card. But we've seen trashy judging in the match of Julian Rosa and Fernando Padilla. Like Rosa was heavily rocked, he was knocked down, but he was not done. But again, I'm pleased with this card. This looked like a horrible card, a trash card on a piece of paper, but I'm not disappointed, got to say. I need to get some sleep now. So night, everyone, and catch us some other day. Probably tomorrow, we're gonna discuss this horrible call.